Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here in the Fuzzy Biker Garage. It's kind of a rainy morning out there. It's a Sunday. And today we are going to talk about this hot rod Royal Enfield Bear 650. Friend likes to call it the Interceptor 2.0, you know, the improved version of the Interceptor. Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 is, I've called it my favorite motorcycle to ride over the years, and I always said, why don't I have one? Well, I bought one. I bought one last November. I've got about 4,600 miles on it now. Did a 2,500 mile review on it a couple weeks ago, a month ago maybe. And since then we've got, we finally had the opportunity to put some miles on it. And usually it's pretty clean except for some dirt, or some bugs I mean, but right now it's got Colorado dirt and New Mexico dirt and Arizona dirt and a whole bunch of Utah dirt and just all kinds of fun with it. We did some, got a little rock damage right there. I broke off this lever, and then I broke off this lever. You notice the mirror is gone. I did not break the mirror. It came loose, and we were out in the middle of nowhere, and these mirror adjusters are kind of tricky, and 3 people trying to do that at one time. Easier to just take it off and do it by myself when I got home. So anyway, I've had a lot of fun on it. So it's, I think it's 649cc, air-cooled, oil-cooled, parallel twin, single overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, fuel injected, has about 47 horsepower, about 42 foot-pounds of torque. I think that is 57 newton meters. Beautiful 6-speed transmission, chain drive, just a fabulous engine. It's the engine, I've called this the symbiotic relationship between transmission and engine. They always seem to be in the right spot at the right time, and that's the normal Interceptor. With this one, it's got a little bit more low-end torque, and it seems to work a little better. Another thing about this bike, since I've got it to now that I've got about 4,600 miles on it, is the top speed has increased, actually increased, and that's kind of an interesting development, I think, too. It's a fabulous machine. Seat height is 32.7 inches or 831 millimeters. Weight 478 pounds in stock form. That's, what does it say there? 216 kilograms. Trying to read off my notes there. Wheelbase. That's another thing. The wheelbase is 57.5 inches versus the 55 of the standard Interceptor. So this has a wheelbase of 1,460 millimeters. It's a little more stable. It's not quite as tweaky. Some might say, well, it probably isn't as quick handling. That's probably true. But it handles, it's a much more, I don't want to say rideable, but it's a more stable bike. How's that? Another interesting thing about the motorcycle is the whole front end. They changed the whole front end. We've got these upside down forks. They're bigger now. They're 43 millimeter. They increased the travel. And if you notice, I used up a lot of the travel. It's now 5.1 inches, about 130 millimeters. They changed the tire size. So a normal Interceptor has an 18 and an 18 front, 18 rear. This one has a 19 on the front. Let's see, it's a 190/19. Now, I learned on this trip, because we got lost. We took it on some BDR, Utah and Colorado BDR. And that bigger tire really makes a difference. That bigger, meatier tire really made a difference for our ride. And I appreciate that now, I really do. It's still a tube tire. It's got the 320 millimeter disc right there. It's a dual piston bi-brake caliper. The brakes work fine for what we used it for. The rear tire is a 140/70/17. Again, these are MRF tires. I've never used that brand before, so we really put it to the test this time. Rear suspension is, so I've got YSS on mine. The stock suspension was a little harsh for me, so I put these on. In stock form, it's supposed to have about a 4.5 inch of travel. That's about 115 millimeters, I believe. Rear disc is a 270, I think. 270 disc with a single piston bi-brake caliper. Look at that thing, huh? Hot rod. It's got plenty of ground clearance, but I can't remember what that number is right now. And the reason I know it has plenty of ground clearance is, again, we took it on a little bit of BDRing. It's a fabulous motorcycle. We did this 6-day trip in Colorado of actual motorcycle riding time. It was 8 days total. And I've just fallen in love with this machine. It is just a fabulous motorcycle. I had taken it in a lot of short trips. I think I did a 577 mile day ride one day, and that started giving me the idea of what this motorcycle was truly about. Had the trip planned with Colorado Mark and our good guy Gary. We were all going to take our Himalayans, because we all have Himalayans just like this one. Different colors, of course. And at the last minute, I'd ridden that bike about 5,000 miles in the previous 2 weeks. And at the last minute I said, hey, I'm going to take this bike. Gary said he was going to take his Tiger. He has a Tiger 800. And Colorado Mark took his Himalayan, and he did well for that. But this bike did well too, you know, did very well, and I'm very proud of it. So our trip, we started in Frisco, Colorado. It was snowing that morning. We drove all the way to Chama. We left the house. There was a couple inches of snow on the ground. We powered through it. We had to go from 9,000 feet up to 12, or just about 12,000 and back down. I think the pass was Fremont Pass, and then we went through Leadville, a town called Leadville, and then back down. So the snow went away. It was still chilly, but we were okay. You know, I've got a heat port on this. So I had my, I think it's first gear heated jacket on underneath my normal jacket, and I had my, I can't remember what my gloves were, Tourmaster Polartex glove, Polartex too, I can't remember what they were, but very good gloves. You know, I had my Shoei Neotech helmet, which is sitting over there in a filthy mess. I wore that thing so many days in a row, I just haven't been able to put it back on since we got back. Anyway, so we did that the first day. We got to a place called Chama. If you ever get to Chama, make sure you try the Outlaw Barbecue. Outlaw Barbecue is the name of the place. It's on the end of town, Chama, New Mexico. We went there. Now, mind you, we were wore out. It was a 400-mile day about. But the food was excellent, and the people were good, and there was live music, and you know, it was a good time. It was a good time. The next day we woke up, we ran over to the Chaco culture area, and Chaco culture was a civilization that existed between 800 and 1200 AD, roughly, in this valley. It's a federal thing. You pay to get in. There's a 9-mile loop, and it's just mind-blowing. What you see there, and get to walk through and touch and feel and all that neat stuff, just amazing, amazing. You know, the day after that, we hopped on our motorcycles. We were in Farmington. We were in Farmington, trying to read my writing. Farmington, we hopped on our motorcycles and we did Four Corners. We did Monument Valley, where I did the Forrest Gump thing, you know. We did Gooseneck State Park in Utah. Ran into a YouTuber, I can't think of his name. He rode with us for several miles. He was from Turkey, I think. Real nice guy. He rode with us through Valley of the Gods and up the Moki driveway, Dugway, it says right there. And those two things, the Valley of the Gods, just amazing. We didn't do all, we just did a big chunk of it, maybe 9 miles in, then back out, 8 or 9 miles. And then the Moki Dugway, if I'd have been there by myself, you know, we went up it, I'd have turned around and went back down, and I would have gone back up again. It was just that amazing. And the views were fabulous, you know. And this bike just did all of that so well. It did the, you know, it did the running through the mountains in Colorado well. It did the snow well. It did, you know, it did all of this well. The Chaco Culture Valley. To get to the Chaco Culture area, you had to drive through, I don't know, 16 or 17 miles of gravel, and it was really crappy washboard gravel. We're riding along. There's a whole mess of wild horses running along beside us, you know, and just fabulous. Really crappy road, but you know, good enough. Good enough. Car. You can go down an old Buick if you need to. So, you know, good enough, but washboarded and crappy. But the bike did it so well, you know. Then we got on a highway to get to the other places. And most of those other places, you know, Four Corners obviously is all pavement. Monument Valley, all pavement. Gooseneck Park, Gooseneck State Park, all pavement. Valley of the Gods and Moco, that was all rough road and gravel. And the bike, you know, this bike just ate it alive. No problems at all. No problems at all. It was comfortable. It was powerful. It was smooth. You know, much smoother than that bike. I love that bike. It's my favorite bike of all time. This is my funnest bike. You know, and it made the trip very exciting. Now, I had no fairing on this bike. I got this little tiny fairing, and we did get caught in some rain. And, you know, I think it was the day we did the Four Corners and all those monuments, we got up in the morning and there was rain, and, you know, so we were, you know, big expanses of desert, and it's raining, of course. And we were looking at them, and we're going this way and that way, trying to avoid it. And finally, we had to punch right through it. And an interesting thing was, when you sit on this bike, the rain, there's an air cone that happens in front of you. And my helmet, the water would hit my helmet, and then it would stay there. It wouldn't blow off. I had to tilt my head to the side to get the water to blow off. So there's like a cone of calmness in front of you. So it does take the pressure off your helmet. It does take the pressure off your body. I did not experience any buffeting. Everybody wants to know about that. I never seem to have that problem. But so this little tiny fairing actually did help in that way. I don't have hand guards. I'd like to have some. I've heard that Royal Enfield is making some. I went to the Royal Enfield India site. I haven't been able to find pictures of them, but I've heard they're making some specifically for this bike. Just a real quick side note. I broke these levers off on both sides. I did not damage the ends of this on either side. I don't think on either side anyway. And I'm not quite sure how I did that. But, well, that one's full of dirt. So I've got new levers coming, so that's going to be an interesting thing. We'll get them changed real quick. But the big drama of the whole ride actually came on the day number 4, it says there. So day number 4, I got up, and I'm always, when I travel alone, I'm always leaving. I'm always planning. I'm always, following the routes. I'm always doing this. I'm always doing that. And I said to those guys, Colorado Mark and good guy Gary, you guys do all the planning. I'm just going to follow. Don't ever do that. They did good, though. They did really good. And I got to thank them. They were great travel buddies. They were, we made a good team. When you travel in a group like that, especially for that many days, you got to love each other. And I love you guys. So it was a good ride, Anyway, so they did the planning. And I said, any gravel? Yeah, a little bit of gravel, but nothing to worry about. So we get to Moab. We go to a gas station to fill up. 17 of these fancy Jeeps, big fancy, 17 I counted. And I'm not even counting the trucks and other things. It was just amazing. Anyway, we were glad to get out of Moab. We go on this road that follows the Colorado River, which is just, wow, otherworldly. And we get to something called Onion Creek Road, which is our route to get to, we want to go to Gateway, Colorado. If you've never been to Gateway, get yourself to Gateway, Colorado, because it is population 107. It's heaven on earth. It's just beautiful. So we get going, and we're going over. It's just windy, twisty, really neat road, beautiful, rocky. And I go up this thing and I drop my bike on the right side. It was going too slow. The bike's too high geared for what we were using it for, and killed the engine and fell over on its right side. Nobody got hurt, but I did break my lever. So we get going again. We get a little farther down the road, and we come to a stop, and there's a T intersection. And, we should go this way or that way. This way is the right way, that way is the wrong way. And, we went that way, the wrong way. And we got ourselves onto a trail that was called, did I write it down here? Hideout Canyon Road, Hideout Canyon Trail, something like that. And it was pretty, Gary was on a street bike. I was on a street bike. Hot Rod Colorado Mark was on Himalayan. So he had the right bike. I did not have the right bike. I had close to the right bike, but I didn't have the suspension. And old Hot Rod Gary, or our good guy Gary, he had 100 pounds of luggage. The idea was that we weren't going to do anything like this. So we thought a little bit of gravel, but not much else. And it became an experience. Very steep, very rocky, very hilly. At some point or another, we all dropped our bikes. So I dropped my bike on the other side. Gary dropped his bike. Colorado Mark dropped one of the bikes. And, at some point, all of us did that. And it was very rough. Our GPS, I didn't have a GPS. Those guys had GPS. They started having troubles with their GPS for some reason. And it was rock ledges. It was stair steps. It was baby heads. And I guess what I'm trying to get to is we beat the snot out of these motorcycles. The Himalayan took it real well. 8 inches of suspension, front and back, made for that kind of riding, lower first gear, lower gearing. This, on the other end, was not made for that exact kind of riding. It did well in the rough, but it didn't do that well in the very, very rough like we were in. And I bottomed out the front suspension several times. I'm sure I bottomed out the rear. The bike bounced around like mad. I had to hold on tight, and I'm not complaining because I loved every minute of it. I loved every minute of it. And I got online, I was looking at the computer, I think it was only 15 miles, but it took us all afternoon, When you are in a situation like that, especially when you're a bunch of old guys, the oldest was in his 70s, the youngest was in the 60s. So we became pretty dependent on each other, and we got to a point where we all wore out and bucked around and, pushed around by the bikes, and we were resting, and I looked out over the hill, and beautiful valley, trees for miles, just gorgeous. And I said, hey guys, look at this. They got up and looked, and I said, there's Bigfoot. And they didn't seem to find the humor in that, but I thought it was hilarious. But anyway, we finally got out of there, and let me jump back again. I had this bag on the back, little tiny Rhino walk bag. Again, the bike got beat to snot, and everything held together. Nothing broke, I had this bag, this beautiful, I think this is a Royal Enfield bag. I had that on this side. No trouble at all. It just stayed there, did its job, hung on for its dear life. Here's my electrical hookup. and it just worked very well. So we finally, we get to where we think we're out of this mess, and and we are out of it. We're out of it. We finally get, it flattens out, the rocks get less. We come to a cattle grate, one of those cattle gate things, and we're like, oh, civilization, finally. Well, again, our GPS aren't helping us out, and we go this way, we go that way, and we can't figure out how to get out of where we're at. And then we spend an hour doing that, and finally, old Gary, good guy Gary, we're standing on an overlook, and he looks way down, and he says, Fuzzy, do you see that road? And I looked, and I said, Gary, I don't see a dang gone thing. Can't cuss. And so old Colorado Mark gets over there, and they put their heads together, literally, and they're looking, and Colorado Mark says, I see it. Let's take it. And we did. And it was the right road. Thank you. Thank you, good guy Gary. And so we twisted our way down, and we ended up in Gateway, Colorado. Let me see if I have that here somewhere. Yeah, Gateway, Colorado. And it's late, and well, the sun was still out. Probably 5 o'clock, let's say 5 or 6. And there's one little tiny gas station, population 107. We're hungry. We don't know where we're going to sleep that night. And we pump gas on our bikes. We would use one pump and then just take turns paying for it. That way we didn't eat up all the pumps at a gas station. And so we're doing that. We get down, we're standing there talking, and this guy comes out. I thought he was going to tell us to move our bikes. His name is Dave. And he says, Wahoo, gives me a Wahoo, and or something like that, and watches the channel, has a Royal Enfield Himalayan himself. And, he becomes this incredible wealth of information and friendliness. And he was just what we needed at just that moment. Where can we stay? Well, you can stay here, you can stay there. Where can we eat? Well, you can eat here, you can eat there. And he knew it all. He was like our savior in the out in the wilderness. And thank you, Dave. And well, there's some glamping over the hill here. Just literally, you can throw a stone and probably hit it. What is glamping? Well, glamping is fancy tent. You guys probably know what it is, but you get a big old tent, and there's carpeting on the floor, and there's heat, and there's electricity, and there's there's leather furniture. And this place was called Gateway Glamping. Now, they don't have much of a website, but look them up. Really, it's worth it. It's just worth doing it. Just go there, Gateway Glamping. So we we give them a call. They're not really open yet. We give them a call. Yeah, we'll put you up. So very good people. And we spent the night there, and we went down there. Old Dave came down on his motorcycle, and we started telling us about motorcycle routes, and where we were located, and different places we can go. And I don't have a good map of any of that here, but I will just say we're in Colorado now. Let me see if I can find the places here. So we were in here somewhere, right through here. There's Moab. So we're here somewhere. And 5 valleys come together there. It's rugged, it's beautiful, it's fabulous. It's just wow, So the night comes to an end. We go in our tents. You can hear the turkeys, you can hear the coyotes, you can hear all kinds of, just beautiful wildlife. And by the way, when you get a tent, they give you earplugs in case you want them. I didn't use them, of course. There's a shower house, and a bathroom house, and it was just a fabulous experience. We decided to stay another night because our good buddy Dave gives us all this information. He says, take 4.1 road in the morning. Check that out. It's a there and back. Easy to get to. It's all gravel. It's rugged. It's beautiful. By rugged gravel road, So we do it. We get up in the next morning. We go over to the gas station. We have a breakfast that can't be beat. Drink some coffee. Meet some locals. I got to throw that in. Meet some locals. So, everybody in a town like that is a character. Everybody in a town like that's a character. We met, I think his name was Jim. He was an encyclopedia of knowledge and history of the whole area, We met a guy, I can't think of his name. He looked like he was a rugged man, and turned out he'd worked on these oil rigs for 20 some odd years, We met some really interesting people. And we heard about a guy named Don. Don had an Indian with 250,000 miles or more. I said, boy, I'd really like to see Don. I'd really like to meet Ron. Well, and we'll get back to him in a minute. So we get on our ride. We do the 4.1 mile. Then we get on 141, Colorado 141, which is just a fabulous road. And we take it, I don't know what direction we were going, but the direction we were sent. We get to a road called Divide Road. Divides a mesa. And so Gateway is 4,600 feet. At some point or another, we're at just about 10,000 feet. We are driving through the aspens. Colorado Mark's leading. He sees a bear. You know, we see loads of deer. We see eagles, and I don't know what they were, big birds that were having fun out there playing around. You know, I have poor eyesight at best, but it was just gorgeous. The views that were just, you know, miles and miles. I'm certain we could see Utah and Colorado at the same time, and it was just fabulous. And when we rolled down the hill, you know, we did like, I'm going to say 80 miles of gravel, just beautiful, comfortable, fabulous gravel. We, you know, there were road maintenance crew. We stopped and talked to them for a while and had loads of fun. We get to a little town where we're going to have lunch. You know, we're back on pavement, and the lady comes up and she says, blah, 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 blah. I said, what's your special? She says, our special is, I said, I'll take it. I didn't even bother to hear what she said. And Colorado Mark says, I'll take that too. Don't ever do that. We were not happy with the special, but we ate it. It was good. I mean, it was good enough, you know. So get back on the roads at 141 to make our way to Gateway, you know, back to Gateway. And again, just canyon roads, twisty, beautiful, hardly any traffic. And the bikes, again, the bikes, especially this bike. I was so happy I brought this bike. I would have been happy with that bike, but I was so happy I brought this bike. And again, I bonded really strong, really well with this bike. I have a new love and appreciation for the Royal Enfield Bear 650. It really is it is a fabulous motorcycle, and it really will do just about anything you want. Don't take it on a BDR though, like we did. So we get back to Gateway, and there's an old Indian sitting out front of the motorcycle, sitting out front of the gas station. There's a guy who looks like he's in his 80s sitting there, and go up and start talking to him. Well, it's Don the motorcycle guy. He just happened to show up, huh? And I start talking with him, and he's telling us about his Indian. His Indian is in really good shape, but you can see the wear marks. You can see the wear in the seat. You can see the wear in the levers. You can see the wear in the grips. You can see this bike has been ridden, you know. And it was just a fabulous thing. Don was a great guy to talk to. He knew how to tell a story. You know, he was an interesting character. I love characters, and Don was an interesting character. Gateway is full of interesting characters. If you like characters, go to Gateway, you know. And, you know, had a great time with the guy. Had a supper our new friend Dave, he and his wife invited us to their home. I can't tell you how much that meant to us, to all three of us, Gary, Mark, myself. You know, they had this home, and the backyard was these beautiful views. They had a fire pit and a little creek running there. And I mean, thank you so much for doing that for us. I just cannot express how much that meant to us, and how, thank you so much. Next morning we got up, we glamped again that night, and we got up the next morning and hopped on our motorcycles, went up to the convenience store, had a breakfast that couldn't be beat, you know, drank some coffee, met some more locals, you know, and we met one of the guys was a helicopter pilot. This is kind of cool. Helicopter pilot who used to fly Harriers, you know, and that's pretty neat, you know. Another old guy was, he was known for riding his dirt bike everywhere. And he says, where were you at? And we're telling him, and he says, ooh, you were there on street bikes? That's terrible on a dirt bike, you know. Yeah, we were there on street bikes. So anyway, the Hideout Canyon or Hideout Road, whatever it's called. Anyway, so we hop on our bikes and we go back to Frisco, towards Frisco. Well, we get bored, and we're at a gas station, and we decide we're going to take Gypsum Road, something called Gypsum Road. And there's a gypsum mine up there. It's north of 70, I-70, or the I as they call it. And we do that, and we make a wrong turn. We end up in the gypsum mine, where people are waving us down and telling us we're, you know, not anyway, we got stopped. And they were very polite and pointed us back out. You know, you have to go that way, the way you came. And your corner's up there, you missed it. So we take that, you know, we go out, we get to the corner, we take it, and we're having a good old time. And old fuzzy biker here, I don't know what I know exactly what it is. I'm just not going to fess up to it. I crashed my bike, and I low-sided pretty bad. Gary, he was behind us. He was behind me on his Tiger. He said I was riding along just fine. He said suddenly there was dust everywhere. I was laying on the ground. It ripped this bag off my bike. It ripped. Let me see if I can show you that. This was sewn on the bottom and just ripped that loose, you know. So I got an idea on how to fix that, but no big deal. So we belted everything back together, and unlike a couple days earlier where we decided to soldier on, we thought, you know what, it's the last day. let's just get back to the interstate and take the easy way out. So we did. And we got back to Colorado, Mark's home in Frisco, and had a supper that couldn't be beaten. It was just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And those guys really, you know, Mark and Gary, I just cannot express how much I appreciated everything you did for me personally, for us as a group. Fabulous. Dave, same thing. You were just, I can't wait to get back to Gateway and ride with Dave. He's fabulous, just fabulous. So back to the bike. You know, it's dirty, it's crappy. It's. I think I'm going to leave the muffler alone. I like the fact it's got a little bit of patina on it. I do have shift levers coming. We'll put the mirror back on it, clean it back up. I am going to take it. I think I'm going to go. You know, we're going to Alaska. We're going to leave. We're going to meet in Marnie June 21st. We're going to leave Marnie June 22nd, heading up to Alaska. We're going to camp in a campground in Nebraska. I think I'm going to take this bike over there this week just to check it out, make sure everything's good. And we will take that there. I think I'll use this bag. I bought a 45-liter Rhino Walk bag, and you know, it's pretty good size, waterproof, all that neat stuff. And I think what I will do is probably put that on the back of this bike and just see how that works. I'm going to fix this bag. I've got an idea on how to do that already. I mentioned that already. And then I'll use that at a later date. That'll be, you know, lower center of gravity for weight. But the bike itself was just fabulous. You know, it just, I have, like I said, a newfound love for this motorcycle. I cannot believe how well it performed. I cannot believe the amount of abuse, absolute abuse. Nothing broke. Nothing on the motorcycle itself broke. Even these things, which are just friction fitted in there, didn't fall out, you know. Nothing fell off. Nothing got unhooked. The wiring, everything stayed right, you know. Nothing at all. You know, I thought I talked with the wheels several times. No trouble. The rims are true. You know, it's that bigger front tire. We went through water. We went through, you know, shallow water, but we went through, you know, all kinds of things. And the bike just took it so well. And when I did dump it, you know, damage was minimal. Of course, I was, you know, very slow speeds. The thing just worked well. I guess I did bend my reflector back up pretty good, but we'll just remove that. I don't even care about that. Look at that red dust on there. We oiled our chains daily. We took care of everything. You know, it was just a fabulous machine. And I just have a newfound, like I said, newfound love for this machine. That's what I'm taking to Alaska. This is going to be my passion bike. So, you know, what a bike. Now, if y'all are interested in a motorcycle like this, new or used Royal Enfield, Triumph, classic British bike of any type, need parts, accessories, thingamajigs, doodads, helmets, bags, you know, anything at all, gloves, get yourself over to Baxter Cycle in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa, or go to baxtercycle.com. Tell those fine folks that Fuzzy Biker, that's me, sent you. It's a rainy day here today. It's a Sunday. My good buddy's kind of come over, and we're going to work on some Harleys today, change the oil in my old Ironhead Sportster. I can take that out for a ride. Yesterday's motorcycle was that motorcycle right there, the Evo Sportster that I have. The day before I rode this one, this beautiful Super Meteor. Anyway, get yourself out and ride, my friends. Get off the couch. Get out of the easy chair. You know, there's a life to live. Get out there and live it. Get out there and live it. Look at that motorcycle, huh? Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. Wahoo! Hey y'all, Fuzzy Biker here in Gateway, Colorado. I went to get some gasoline and this guy right here, his name's Dave, asked me to move my motorcycle. Can you believe that? Not really. He came out and said, Wahoo! So 1, 2, 3, Wahoo!